You guys know I've been around for a while. Turned pro in 2001. You know, from that time till now, what a change. You know, when I was coming up in bodybuilding, we had none of the stuff that we have now, and as pertaining to social media. You know, and not only social media, but the help as well. Nowadays, it's help is more freely given, if I could say that. Believe it or not, when I was growing up, we were more individuals than ever. I mean, that whole bodybuilding mentality, bodybuilding lifestyle was almost like you were a hermit. Like you left your house only if you needed to, and that was pretty much to go to the gym or buy food. Other than that, unless you had to do cardio as well. Other than that, you just, you know, kind of set your plan for whatever show you were getting ready for, or if you weren't getting ready for a show, you were, you know, setting down the strategy for your training for the next several weeks until you start prep for a show. So, like I said, we pretty much lived like hermits big time, and was like away from the masses or the public as much as possible, and then stayed covered up. I mean, we wore sweats and, you know, sweats pretty much 24 hours a day, whether it was 120 degrees outside or whether it was 20 degrees outside. We wore sweats and stayed covered up. Nowadays, you know, everybody's in the mirrors taking pictures and stuff like that, wearing as less as possible to show as much as possible. So, you know, within that is the complete opposite mindset when it comes to that. You know, like I said, back in the day, we pretty much stayed to ourselves, kept our bodies hidden until it was time to perform. You know, it was kind of like you put a curse on yourself if you showed anything before it's time. You know, that's almost the mentality we had. You know, you set out and you wrote out a biography and took some headshots and stuff like that, some shots yourself, sent them into different companies and stuff like that, and try to pitch to get a contract, you know, for sponsorship. But these days, because of social media, you can take pictures and, you know, pretty much write your bio out, you know, within the pictures and the posts that you put on social media, and that alone will grab some attention. You know, if you're good enough, look good enough, and present it well enough, you know, you can draw attention through social media and possibly get a sponsor through that. This isn't a cheap sport. It's a very expensive sport, and you can find yourself, you know, really excited about competing, really excited about your changes in your body that you can make. But when it's time to pay for that to happen, it can really stunt you, because there's a lot more than what people think it is putting into this stuff. So getting a sponsor is really important to help out with expenses and stuff like this, unless you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth, you know, and not all of us is, you know, like that.
You know, so as a professional athlete, it doesn't matter what sport you're in. You can be a professional basketball player, NFL player, doesn't matter, a professional bodybuilder. If you're fortunate enough to make it to the top, you have a very finite set of time that you're going to be on top and actually be able to be successful. And as a professional bodybuilder, you're not making NBA money or NFL money for that matter. Okay, there's some guys that are very successful and have done very well on stage during their careers, and then the key is to recognize opportunities when they come your way, whether it's sponsorships or business opportunities, whatever the case may be. And you know, the sport has changed completely from when I was competing. You know, I retired 5 years ago roughly, and by the time I had retired, the sport had completely changed from when I started back in 2001 as a professional. Social media changed everything. I think there was two big factors in the early 2000s. Well, one big factor in the early 2000s and another one in the mid 2000s that changed the sport. Supplement companies really started doing well, and as they did well, the magazines and everything else grew exponentially, and that created a lot of opportunities for the athletes to better themselves. When social media really started becoming a thing in the mid 2000s, that changed the whole game. That's changed the game for athletes because, you know, the big contracts and things like that aren't out there that used to be. You've got people that have never competed and never really won anything. They're doing very well because they have a great following and they get a lot of interaction, from their followers. So social media has been a game changer. Now, when social media first came out, I didn't understand it, and personally, I hated it. I give my wife full credit for early on grasping it, and she said, hey, we need to do this. And my reply was, why do I need to do this? I'm not gonna sit around taking selfies. This is some bullshit teenagers do, and I don't want any part of this stuff. And she's like, no, we need to get on Facebook, because this is when Facebook was pretty much the only game in town. To her credit, she started my Facebook page and started growing it, and without my cooperation, even though she kind of forced the cooperation, and she used to get my workout partners to film me doing my sets when I wasn't looking, and then I would see these clips on online. I'm like, who the hell filmed this? And so that's how we got it going. So change comes whether you like it or not. Once the market starts to change and the industry starts to change, you either got to adapt to it and try to capitalize on it, or you get left behind.